right. Hey, guys. Good afternoon and welcome to the 330 Sports Show. My name is Justin Coffin, and today is July 1st, 2021. It is Bobby Bonilla Day. We'll explain what that means in a little bit. We're live from downtown Youngstown, Ohio, and produced by the Youngstown Studio Network. No phone lines today. You always can comment or whatever on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter pages if you would like. Those are always live, but no phone lines today. We'll get back to those soon. But Bobby Bonilla Day, what that is, Lucas, if you don't mind putting that first graphic up for me. So Bobby Bonilla Day this is a guy that played for the New York Mets for one season in 1999. He was bought out of his contract with, I believe he had like $6 million left on his contract. And what they then did was his agent, who must have been one of the smartest men alive, created a buyout, which he has paid $1.19 million every single July 1st. It started in 2011 and will still stretch until 2035. So that's why July 1st is also known as Bobby Bonilla Day. So pretty awesome for him. Not great for the Mets, but I'm sure the Mets aren't hurting on money, but that's, pretty interesting there. And again, for one season of his services. So he used to be one of the most highly paid players in all of baseball, but just pretty crazy there. I thought we would share that one out. And also, I just want to remind you guys too, before we get going with our guest here today, the 330 Sports Show is a Youngstown studio production. You can watch live every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. You can follow us on the Youngstown studio page. Make sure to follow the 330 Sports page at 330 Sports Show, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Youngstown Studio on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also listen and subscribe on your favorite podcast platforms. So I am going to bring in our guest here. While I have our guest in, we're also going to put the ticker down on the bottom of the screen that you'll be able to see. So in case I overlook any sports news, hopefully we have that up and running for you. So, like Phoenix last night getting to the NBA Finals, Mississippi State wins the College World Series. We have a guest, and we're going to have a loaded show today. We're going to kind of be all over the place. So I might overlook a few things, but I want to bring in our guest, Eric Simione. He is a teacher at Boardman High School, Boardman boys soccer coach, does the PA voice for a lot of the basketball games, some of the football games as well. From my memory, you served as the speech and debate coach as well.
That is also true.
And so anything else I missed on that list?
There's been random other clubs and things.
Okay.
Nothing worth mentioning.
Okay. All right. Very good. So Sim, as he's affectionately known by a lot of the staff and students at Boardman, I had the privilege of coaching with him for a couple years. You were the girls' freshman coach,
yes,
there for a while for basketball, and we kind of overlapped at Boardman there for a little bit. But that's how I kind of got to know Sim. But tell us a little bit about your backstory and kind of like, where'd you grow up? How'd you get into teaching? All that kind of stuff.
Well, I've been in the area my whole life. I grew up in Youngstown. We moved to Boardman when I was about 8 or 9. Went to Boardman High School myself. Participated in a number of things there, largely speech and debate as well as a student there, and got involved in officiating soccer in college, and we're still coaching speech a little bit for the head coach at that time, and then just education was just something that I kind of decided on fairly early to go into as somebody who just enjoyed history. Yeah. I didn't know what my other options were with that subject area. Okay. Looked at a couple of other things like going to grad school for campaign management and things like that. And have you ever seen the price tag for American University or George Washington?
Oh,
it wasn't going to work very well.
Yeah,
So
right.
we stayed local and got involved in teaching and I've been doing it for 20. It's going to be going on 27 years now.
Wow. Okay.
So
Okay.
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Coaching things for about 31. I think this will be 32 years.
Okay.
And just enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's a great lifestyle. Just working constantly with new people, new kids, new faculty members every year, and it's just been enjoyable all throughout.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And one other title I can think of too for you is when we have our banquets, you usually are the lead man for that and
master of ceremonies.
Yeah, exactly,
yes.
The MC. So
yes,
yeah, you've always done a great job with that, and you find your way to get some good funny comments in there too.
There's always a couple of comments in there. Yes,
I love it. So being a coach now, do you think, and you've obviously, like you said, been coaching for a long time, being an official, like you said before that, does that help you see a little bit, more of the game? Or,
we try not to, we might complain about them privately afterwards, but, we'll never argue a judgment call.
Right.
A sport like soccer, basketball's a little bit more of a confined area. You got 3 guys on the court. Sometimes you don't know how they miss things.
Sure.
Soccer, there's really only one guy on the field with 22 players. And I'm not going to argue a judgment call because your angle and my angle aren't always the same. Now other things, when something happens right in front of you, it's sometimes infuriating to think, well, how did that just happen? But no, we try not to complain about the officiating. It's a challenging job. And when I see some of what some of the officials have to put up with, I much prefer the coaching side of things. Not that there aren't complaints on that side of the coin either, but it's way easier than officiating. Officiating is not. You really have to love the game and I don't know, be a little bit of a masochist to be an official. I think.
I agree.
I'm not sure why you would really want to do that. But yeah, it's challenging.
Okay. Yeah. 100% agree. And I always think that's got to be one of the most thankless jobs in anything you can think of.
I mean, there's just, rarely does anybody thank the official.
No.
It doesn't happen very often.
Eric Wilhelm came in and did the show one time, and he actually compared his job being a meteorologist to an official. He's like, if no one is saying anything about you, you're doing a good job.
Right. Exactly. If you don't notice the officials, they're doing great.
Okay. Very good. So yeah, I had to ask you that just because I know, it's a no-win situation. It's just one of those things that's, it is what it is. And as a coach too, you're going to get that same thing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, as a coach of a fall sport, you don't, you're a teacher, you're on summer break, which summer break's kind of almost already over then. You have a little bit more freedom and flexibility,
Sure.
But tell us what it's like to be a coach of a fall sport in the summer.
Well, your off season is the summer. I mean, our first game this year is August 13th.
Okay.
So if you want to be prepared for that, that's really not that far away.
No.
We're talking 6, maybe 7 weeks. It's a Friday night in August. It's the second Friday in August. So it's very early. And if you've got your scrimmages and your tryouts and your cuts and your pictures and all that, your summer is your off season. And yes, it kind of detracts a little bit from what you thought your summers would be.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's kind of nice to know that, okay, I'm very busy preparing for the season, but I'm not also teaching 5 classes and grading papers. It's kind of nice.
That's a great point.
I get to focus on soccer for maybe 4 or 5 hours a day. It still gives me a lot of other free time in the day, and spend with my nephews and family and
absolutely
and whatever. So it's it's kind of, I think it's a benefit. There's some people that grumble about it a little bit. We don't get to do anything. Well, you can plan around it a little bit.
Right.
And that's what you have assistant coaches for. If you really want to get away for a couple of days and still have something, it can be done.
Exactly.
But no, I kind of like it.
Also nice being outdoors too,
Absolutely.
and good weather. And
It's
stuff like that.
It's been pretty good weather. We've only had one kind of rain canceled practice so far this summer, so it's been kind of nice.
And on that turf though, in the middle of July, that can't be too forgiving.
The earlier this week we had a couple of days that it was about 93, I think Tuesday, and you figure you got to add 10 to 12 degrees on that turf easily. It can be hot out there,
no doubt.
It's a struggle sometimes with that.
All right, so we're gonna come back to the soccer part and your teaching part at the high school here in a little bit.
Sure.
Lucas, if you could bring up the next graphic, I want to ask you about this. So, today is July 1st. It's the first official day of the NCAA. Every NCAA athlete now can cash in on their name, image, and likeness. What's your thoughts on that as, I guess, for college sports in general? Like, maybe some of your players that, maybe eventually you get someone that goes D1 that might be able to cash in on that. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I had mixed feelings on it, because when you talk to some of the guys that have gone on to play in college and all that, they are pretty well taken care of. I mean, I feel like they had it probably easier than some of us did trying to work our way through college and all that. But you are getting your college education, you are getting a place to live, you are getting fed. And they do get some expenses when they travel with the team. So, but at the same time, when the school is going to benefit off your individual likeness, your image, people aren't just buying an Ohio State jersey; they're buying this particular number because it's that particular player.
Right.
They probably should receive something for that. I don't know how much they're getting. I don't know what
I don't know if it's
decided
capped or not. But I think this opens it up if they want to, go advertise for a car dealership or make money off of the camp and stuff like that.
Those kinds of things, you should be able to, because you really, you don't have the time for a part-time job. You don't have the time for little things like that. You have to remember, a lot of the people that are involved in college athletics, they're not all coming from well-off families that can send them their extra spending money and such. So it's probably deserved.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it's going to play out. It'll be interesting to see what this turns into.
Yeah, no doubt. And it probably will be another situation of, the big guys, as in Ohio State, Alabama, USC, stuff like that are probably going to do well.
Absolutely. If you're the quarterback at Ohio State or Alabama, it's probably a little more attention than if you're the lineman at Tuscaloosa State or something.
Right. We're Joe and I pitched it out there already, so it's out there. But we threw it out, and the first two schools we picked were Arkansas State and Wyoming. We're gonna try to pay their punter through the whole season. They have to reach out to us though.
Right.
But we're gonna offer to pay their punter to come do a weekly Zoom spot with us.
There you go.
Through the season, and they can cash in on
the
their
kickers a little bit.
Exactly.
The punters and kickers a little bit of attention.
Exactly.
Right.
So as a soccer coach, you might appreciate that too. All right. So if you hypothetically were a college athlete and you could cash in on your name, image, and likeness, and you could endorse either one company or one product, what do you think you would? What would you want to sponsor?
Wow, that's really that's something I've never given a single moment of consideration to.
Good. Then the answer should be great.
A product.
And keep in mind, they cannot advertise for tobacco, alcohol, adult entertainment, or gambling.
I'm out.
All the fun stuff in life.
I have no idea. Wow, I don't know.
Okay,
that's really that's something I've never given any thought to.
Okay, well maybe we'll run that back.
I'm gonna have to run that through my mind a little bit. That's a tough one.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I guess if I wanted to ask you this earlier, but kind of overlooked it. But if you were you are a teacher. If you, as a teacher and a coach this past season, with COVID and with all that stuff, how did that change your day to day?
A lot of it was just taking extra precautions.
Okay.
It didn't change. The fact that the players were allowed to play without masks on,
Hmm.
that was good, because I think that would have just raised a whole nother level of concerns. We were outdoors; they're pretty well spread out.
Yeah.
There's incidental, momentary contact between players, but they're just the logistics of the way we had to, set up benches and where to put the other team and where
Right.
people came in, and the lack of ability to use locker rooms, and just the bus rides. Everybody had to be situated in a different place and
Yeah.
location. There was just a lot of it. It just added a whole level of pre-planning things, and even watching what had to be done with seating in the stands for
Hmm.
spectators. So much more thought and preparation had to go in before an event could
Sure.
occur. That, I mean, there's always way more than people ever realized, that happens in order for a game to take place. And then when you add all that to it, it was the people who had to really do that work, as coaches, there was a lot that fell on us. I mean,
Hmm.
the worst part of last year for me was that we did not sell tickets at the games.
Oh, right.
All the tickets had to be purchased by the players or the parents ahead of time. So I felt like I was a ticket salesman too. I mean, every night after practice, I had to, for about a half an hour or 45 minutes, we had to be available to, okay, this person needs 3. This
Mhm.
person's only going to take 2 of his 5. So this person wants the extra 2. And it was that was probably the worst part of it, was handling the tickets
Okay.
for every game,
Okay.
home and away.
Interesting.
So that was definitely the worst part of it from my perspective.
How about in the classroom? How did that change from what you were used to?
The I didn't really have a problem with the plexiglass or the masks. Everybody was very cooperative with it. The worst part of it, and you would know this, especially having been an elementary teacher at one time, it hindered the personal contact and
Yeah.
relationships so much.
Hmm.
Just you talk to the kids, you say something, you don't know if they're laughing or if they're just staring at you blankly. You didn't get a reaction. And
Sure.
that part was really challenging.
Mhm.
It was like everything was being done in the shadows.
Right.
You still tried doing what you always did, but you had no idea if people were enjoying it or not, because it felt like, my comment at some point during the year was, I felt when I had a class of, say, 20 kids, it felt like I had 20 pet goldfish, and they each had their own little tank. They're all
Yeah.
sitting in their own little plexiglass box. And, it was just kind of hard to really establish a rapport and a relationship,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is that's the worst thing you can do to teaching,
Hmm.
is take that away.
Yeah, that's something I think the outside public or someone not in education wouldn't realize, is how much you need. Like, elementary and high school, very different, but very much the same in
Right,
certain ways. You
right.
need that rapport, you need that. But you develop a rapport or relationship with a student at the high school level different than you might
Oh,
with an
sure,
elementary
sure.
kid. But either way, those kids still need that.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
all right, let me switch gears too.
Sure.
If you weren't a teacher or a coach, what profession or what would you want to do?
Oh, what would I want to do? I've been told I should be mayor of Boardman if we had one.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but I mean, I was always interested in politics and things of that sort.
Yeah.
It was something that I looked into or gave some thought to. I probably might have still gone in that direction.
Hmm.
I just don't know how it would work.
Yeah. Sure.
At the time, it sounded good. Now I'm kind of glad I didn't go that way.
Yeah.
But I think probably that was the other alternative I had at some point in time. People used to always suggest law to me.
Okay. I could see
Having
that.
been a debater in high school and college and such, and that's where a lot of people thought that was just kind of an assumed path for me, and
Sure.
I had zero desire to go
Mhm.
that way. I just didn't want to. didn't interest me. And, you know, I have no regrets about not going that direction either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I could definitely see that though. Like Boardman being a township though. So we have what, trustees.
Right,
So
right.
Brad Calhoun, who just retired from
Yes,
teaching,
yes.
is one of our trustees.
He's one of the trustees.
That could be something maybe you jump into eventually down
I
the
don't know.
road.
Brad does a good job with it. I don't.
Well, I'm not saying to replace him,
No,
but maybe
no.
if one of the other seats opens
Right,
up.
right.
So, okay. All right. Politics. So that'd be a good thing down the road, I think, for you.
Sure.
All right. So let's talk about, you mentioned you taught history, but let's talk about one class in particular you teach at Boardman, because I think it's something very cool and very unique that not many schools, not many kids get the opportunity to do.
Sure.
So you know which class I'm talking about. So go ahead and tell us
the
about
history
that.
of rock and roll class. Yeah. The class that nobody can believe exists.
Yeah.
I think most colleges have one.
Okay.
Or something similar to it. I don't know how many other high schools do. There are a few, from what I've heard. But you know, it was a class that as the school had to make some changes and make some adjustments and cuts, and there were some personnel changes and things. It was kind of as they were getting rid of the foods class and some of those senior type electives, that they had to replace it with something.
Okay.
And Mrs. Fernback, the principal at the time, she came down and she said, "I got to ask you a question. Do you think you could put together a class on the history of rock?" She didn't even finish the question because we had talked about it in the past, so I knew where she was going. And I said, "Absolutely." You know, so they said, you know, draw up for us, give us a proposal for what the class would cover, what topics would. And you know, get that to us. I did it in about 20 minutes because I kind of had it all. You know, it's all been in my mind for years. And you know, it's not. You know, obviously we do listen to music, we watch videos, we talk about some of the people involved and just the whole. You know, there is a parent permission form because you know some of the topics. You know, you have to be willing to be open with it.
Right.
But it is a history class, and it is to some degree a sociology class, you know, because we do cover a lot of those different topics. Like, you know, we talk about the effect that, you know, we talk about how rock and roll was created. It's a blending of country music and blues music. So we have to go back and look at, you know, what was country music like? What was blues music like? Where did it come from? What were some of the themes and what were some of the ideas? And then we look at some of those early performers and how a lot of them really, you know, particularly a lot of the blues artists really got ripped off by some of the early rock musicians.
Oh yeah.
And we talk about race. We talk about how different artists were either accepted or rejected because of, you know, in those early days, you know, with that element. We talk about the emergence of teenagers. You know, rock and roll wouldn't exist if probably our parents or our grandparents' generation wasn't going through serious social changes compared to their parents.
Sure.
I mean, that was the first generation. You know, the teenagers of the 50s, there was no such thing as a teenager. You go back before the 50s, people weren't finishing high school. They were dropping out of school. They were getting married. They were having their own families. So this was the first group of kids that were being told, no, you're not going to get married at 16 or 17. Stay in school and graduate. And it was like, well, it was an awkward transition. It was a lot of social changes taking place. And then from there, it goes into other things. We look at women in rock. We look at a unit on Motown. Lots of different topics that we can look at, and then we use the music to look at a lot of historical events and things that have happened. So it's a great class. I think the students that take it enjoy it. We're up to it's a semester course, and it's offered both semesters. I've got 3 sections each semester, so you figure rough numbers. We've probably got about 150 to 175 kids taking it every year now.
That's awesome.
Which is, I mean, that's almost 2/3 of the senior class.
That's great.
You know,
that's so cool.
Yeah.
And I think it gives you an appreciation. You know, I remember taking art appreciation, and it was the most boring class of all time. But I think with music, everybody likes music. You know, everybody likes different kinds of music, but you can kind of hone in on the origins and things and where it came from, and appreciate it more now because you know its roots. So,
I think they do. And a lot of them, a lot of the kids end up, I'll get random emails from parents, thank you, my daughter's listening to the Four Seasons right now, instead of something that they don't like as parents. But we talk about that too. Parents are never going to like the music that their kids like.
It's just noise. It's just noise.
And I assure them, 20 years from now, you are going to hate whatever your kids are listening
That's
to.
a great point.
Absolutely.
That's a great point. Okay. So speaking of music, let's continue on this path a little bit. So beforehand, I said, I want to play kind of like a little game here. I'm not making a high school teacher drink on our podcast, but this could be used as a good drinking game in the future. So where you go back and forth. So you have mentioned to me, you've seen a band with every letter of the alphabet, I believe, except for Q and X.
Q and X.
Okay.
Somebody put this on Facebook a couple years ago, and it was like, list somebody from every letter. And I had to think about it. And some of them, it depends on whether you're allowed to use the first letter of their name or is it a first name or a last name sort of thing. But yeah, you go through it, and I couldn't come up with a Q.
Okay.
And I couldn't come up with an X, but I've been to a concert with anybody else.
Okay. So can you name them offhand if we went down?
I could name some of them.
All right.
I might have to think a little bit about.
How about we do this instead of naming the concerts? Let's just go down the list and we'll go back and forth.
Okay.
And I'm cheated. I already typed mine out.
You got yours out. Okay. I'm gonna have to do this from memory. I should be all right. I haven't completely lost my faculties.
You want to go first or second?
It doesn't matter.
All right.
Are we going in order by the alphabet?
We're gonna go alphabet.
Okay.
So
this is like when you did the alphabet at the basketball banquet.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess that's just my theme.
Go ahead.
All right. So I'll start with A. AC/DC.
Aerosmith.
Okay. Let's go to B. Beastie Boys.
Buffett.
C. Cranberries.
Clapton.
Nice. Okay. D. Dave Matthews.
Who did I see that was D? I know there's probably D is slipping my mind right now.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking, you say D and the first thing that pops in my mind is the Doors, and I know I didn't see the Doors in concert. But
Bowie? David Bowie?
No, I never saw David Bowie.
Okay.
Who did I see that was D? Dylan.
Okay.
Dylan about 15 times.
All
I don't know how that one didn't pop right into my mind there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
E. And I'm just listing them. I haven't been to these, obviously Elvis Presley is the one I was going with there. So
E, we saw, I think Everclear played somewhere one time. Yeah.
Did you see Elton John at all?
I never saw Elton John.
And I know he's doing his farewell tour here soon.
It's been a 6-year-long farewell tour. I don't know when he's going to actually get. Yeah.
F, I'm going to go with a local band, Foo Fighters. Well, a local musician.
Yeah, Foo Fighters. Well, John Fogerty.
Okay. G, I'm going to go with Green Day.
Green Day. We saw. Did we see Green Day? I'm trying to think if I've seen Green Day or not. I don't think I've seen Green Day.
Okay.
Who was my G? Who did I see that was G in concert?
A Weapon and a Flower?
No, I never saw Guns N' Roses. Never saw Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
I think I saw the Grassroots one time. Or what's left of the Grassroots.
Okay.
Somewhere. Yeah.
All right. And that's the cool thing with band names. They're so random.
Oh, they are.
Too. So they're kind of all over the place. H, I wrote down for double points, Herbie Hancock.
Herbie Hancock. Herbie Hancock. Wow. H, we've seen Hootie and the Blowfish.
Okay. All right.
A couple of times. Yeah.
All right. I, I'm going to go with Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. I did not see Ice Cube. Who was my I? Boy, I know I've seen somebody that was I.
This one's the only other one I could think of just off the top of my head was Iggy Pop.
No, I never saw Iggy Pop, but I'm forgetting I.
Okay.
I can't remember who I saw.
Maybe we'll come back to that. Vanilla Ice, would that count?
No, never saw Vanilla Ice.
I think he's down here at the Cavelli Center or Amphitheater or something.
There's a 90s. Well, that's where I saw Fogerty was at.
Okay.
Fogerty with ZZ Top, who, of course, I will use again later.
Yes, yeah, we'll come back to that one.
Yes.
J, Johnny Cash.
Oh, there's been a lot. I've seen a couple of people with J. Obviously, Billy Joel, probably the most. I've probably seen him about 6 times.
How is he in concert?
Fantastic.
Okay,
excellent. Actually, pondering going to see him. I just saw that he's he's got that residency at Madison Square Garden.
Oh,
And he's reopening those shows, and he's going to play 2 days before my 50th birthday. So
nice.
pondering a little trip to New York. We'll
Heck
see
yeah.
how that goes.
Not during soccer season?
No, it's in
Okay.
the spring.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Awesome. Another thing I think of when I think of Billy Joel, I think of the movie Step Brothers. In that band, they only play Billy Joel like late 80s hits.
Right.
So
Late
they're
80s Billy Joel hits. Right.
Let's go with K.
Okay. Kiss.
Yep. I had Kiss and Kinks
Mhm.
written down. L. Led Zeppelin.
I didn't see
a little
Led Zeppelin,
before your
obviously,
time.
but yeah, Led Zeppelin or L. There's been Live. You
Okay.
remember the band
Yeah.
Live
Lightning
from the
Crashes.
Lightning Crashes.
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent group.
You know where I actually did see them was at Club La Vila in
Mhm.
Panama City.
Okay.
We walked in, and this was like the college place to go when you're down on spring break. And they were actually singing that song as we walked in. Didn't pay to get in. We
Right.
just walked in, and they were playing.
Right.
It was
Yeah,
pretty
they're
awesome.
a great group. They've got a lot of good
Mhm.
songs. Really. Yeah.
All right, we're about halfway through. M. I'm going Michael Jackson.
Meatloaf.
All right, nice,
There you go.
nice. N. Nirvana.
I've seen Willie Nelson.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
How about Neil Young? Have you seen
I've
him?
seen Neil Young.
Okay.
Yeah, that was probably going to be my why.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yes, yeah.
Well, we got your Y and your
save
Z.
Neil.
We'll see.
You got to strategically use these letters.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to
Very-
figure out the
very
whole alphabet. Yes.
I'm gonna go double points here. Ozzy Osbourne.
I did not see Ozzy Osbourne. Who have I seen that was Offspring?
Okay.
Yeah.
How about OAR?
I have seen OAR.
Okay.
Yes.
They used to open up for Dave Matthews.
They
a lot.
we ran a couple of other teachers had tickets to go see them one night, and they randomly called me at the last minute. I think it was someplace out in Warren.
Okay.
It might have been at Packard. I'm not sure where.
Yeah.
Somewhere nearby. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the maybe saxophone player is from Liberty.
Yeah. Somebody's from
say.
around here. I know that. Yes.
Okay. P. I'm gonna go Pink Floyd.
Pearl Jam.
Very nice. You've seen them in concert?
Yeah.
Very
Probably maybe about a dozen times.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this one's probably you just probably missed this one. Q. Queen.
Yeah, I
I'm
never saw
guessing.
Queen. I'm hoping that maybe someday, so I can cross Q off my list. I'm hoping that maybe someday Quicksilver Messenger Service will get back together.
Oh, okay. All right. And then I think he wrote a ton of music. Was Quincy Jones?
Quincy Jones. He did. He actually recorded a few songs too. He actually did
Okay.
have a couple of minor hit songs in the 80s.
Did
himself.
I have to check on this. I want to say he did the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song.
He might have.
I
did
could
some
be
TV
wrong
He
on
did
that.
some TV music, and he produced a lot of things. Well, I mean, I think he produced a lot of Michael Jackson stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
R. I'm not going to steal yours, but I'm going to go Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I've seen them as well. Yes. Chili Peppers and of course Rolling Stones.
Okay.
Easy one there.
Absolutely.
Right.
S. Snoop.
Springsteen.
Okay.
Seeger. You could do Seeger too.
Seeger.
both of
Yep.
them.
Stevie Wonder.
Could
All right. T. I'm going to go double T here. Tina Turner.
Tina Turner's a great one. Who have I seen that was T? Oh, there's been a lot of T's. Three Dog Night. Geez. Sure, I've seen several other
I'm going to
T's.
say, and I'm not sure if this falls under
Mhm.
T or a number,
Mhm.
but one of my favorite concerts I've ever been to, Third Eye Blind.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
good.
Third Eye Blind. Yeah,
So
a lot
good.
of good songs. A lot of good, especially that first album. That first
Mhm.
album was really, really well done.
Really, really good.
Mhm.
I'll leave the one for you, but I'm going to go with Usher.
Oh, there you go, Usher. I'll take you too.
Okay. That's why I was going to leave the one
Right.
for you. V. Van Halen.
Veruca Salt.
Oh,
That's my V.
okay.
My brother and I randomly in Columbus at some point in time went to see
Okay.
Veruca Salt.
All right. We might, that might hint at something we're going to talk about just in a
Okay.
little bit here with Veruca Salt. W. I'm going to go White Stripes.
Geez, same. I've seen the White Stripes. That's
Okay.
probably, that might be who I used as well when I was doing the list. Trying to think if there's been anybody else that was W. Can't really think of one.
When did the Who stop touring?
They'll still randomly do a show here and there, but I
Okay.
think most of them have been in England.
Okay.
I don't know the last time they've played in America.
Okay.
To be honest with you. Yeah.
All right. X, we mentioned that's one.
If Keith Richards does a solo tour again with the Expensive Winos,
Okay.
that's what I'm hanging my hat on.
All right. The one I could think of was Exhibit, the rapper.
Yeah, there's probably more in the rap genre that use an X. Even when you look up like this book that has all the top 40 hits, you can't find much from X.
Okay.
There's just not a whole lot of X in there.
All right, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Here's the Y that you had mentioned earlier.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Young MC.
Young MC's good. Yeah. Obviously, I've seen Neil Young.
Yeah. Okay. ZZ Top we had mentioned for Z, and then I think you've been to Zach Brown Band too, haven't you?
I have not.
You have not. Okay.
I have not seen them in concert.
Okay.
No.
That's one I've heard is a very, very good concert, whether you like country or not.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, and how about a number?
A number.
A band with a number.
With a number. Starting with a number. I don't know. There's.
I could only think of a few off the top of my head. So I thought a 50 Cent or 50 Cent, 311.
311 is out there.
About Four Non-Blondes.
I have not seen them.
Okay.
But yeah, I remember they kind of a one-hit wonder.
They were, yeah.
Fifth Dimension. I think there was somebody called the Fifth Dimension.
And we had talked about Third Eye Blind.
Right.
I think they have
Four Seasons is probably the most probably the most successful numerical group. Is that what we're going to call them?
Yeah. All right, very good. All right, we made it all the way through. 27 up, 27 down.
Yep.
Best concert you've ever been to?
Best concert I've ever been to. Wow, there's been a lot of good ones, but just out of sheer coincidence, 2005.
Okay.
The Rolling Stones play in PNC Park on the Bigger Bang tour. And one night only, the opening act is Pearl Jam.
Oh, wow.
That's a pretty good lineup. Pearl Jam followed by the Stones.
Wow.
And then, of course, they brought Eddie Vedder out during the set to sing Wild Horses with Mick Jagger.
That's so great.
So that was a pretty good one. It's hard to top that one.
If you could go to one concert, you just get, someone offers you a ticket, but you can write your ticket to whatever concert you want to go to. That band or individual can be living or dead. Who would you choose?
I think I'd have to go with the Doors.
Okay.
I'd love to see the Doors in concert. I would. That was one of my favorite groups growing up as a kid, and obviously seeing them in concert's not a possibility. But yeah, that if I could, it would be the Doors.
And they've inspired so many other musicians too. The one I think I'd pick would be Tom Petty, and I know he just passed away.
Missed out on Petty.
Same here.
I don't know how. I'm telling you, it's one of those things I really regret because I had probably 3 different chances to see Petty, and I just didn't do it.
And that's one that, I'm sure he lived a pretty hard life,
right? But
you didn't think he was going that soon. And it's one of those things. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
So,
right.
But yeah, I'm sure that I'll eventually get to a Tom Petty tribute band concert.
Petty was a real loss. It was, he was fantastic.
No doubt. All right. So, one more music question. That I guess kind of goes with sports. So in baseball, there's walk-up songs. If you had a walk-up song, heading to the plate, you're about to go bat, what would your walk-up song be? Any song, any artist?
Sympathy for the Devil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the opening of that. Just the way the slow drum beat with Charlie Watts as the song gets started and then just kind of builds to a crescendo. I always liked that. You ever see the movie that they used that in? There was a movie called The Jericho Mile.
I have not.
There's a guy in prison for either killing his father or his mother's new husband or something like that. And he was supposed to be an Olympic runner.
Okay.
And so when they have the Olympic time trials and he finds out what the time is, he runs it on the prison track and he beats the Olympic time. And as he's running the mile, it's to Sympathy for the Devil.
Okay.
It's a great movie, great scene.
Okay. All right. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's switch to another one of your fortes that I know nothing about is Euro soccer. So, Lucas, if you could you know what? I got to head back to that graphic. If you could throw up that graphic there. So this is kind of the bracket. I don't know.
Is this what's left?
This was
from the round of 16.
This is from the round of 16.
Right.
So I guess, you know, me being about as novice as you can be with the soccer, you know, but we had talked to the Olympics are coming up. There's going to be soccer there. World Cup is what, 22?
Should be 22.
22. Okay. And COVID has thrown everything off a little bit.
Yeah, because this should have been last year. Right. Yeah, the Euro should have been last year.
So when I was looking for, you know, just a graphic, I was like, well, shit, I hope this is up to date.
Yeah, no, it is. It's funny because when you try searching for the year, you're getting both 20 and 21. The websites don't know what to put
exactly
in the search engines, I guess.
So what's your thoughts on, I guess, what makes this such a great tournament, and like who do you think the favorites are and stuff like that?
Personally, as I was mentioning earlier, I always like the national teams. I think there's more at stake. There's a lot more pride involved when you're playing for your national team as opposed to your professional team. I don't watch the professional soccer all that much.
Sure.
But anytime it's a World Cup, the Olympics, the Euro, you know, these are fun games to watch. And this tournament in particular has been amazing.
Okay.
There have been so many great games, just awesome soccer, well played by so many teams, and watching some of these unexpected teams do what they've done. This one, looking at the round of 16, the best, you know, these just finished a couple days ago, and we are down to the quarterfinals now. The Italy game with I might have to slip my glasses on.
Oh no, you're fine.
Some of these brackets here. Italy versus Austria. I mean, most people thought Italy was going to walk right through that. Austria took them to extra minutes, and Italy played great right at the end to score actually 2 goals, I believe. Croatia was down big to Spain and came back and sent that into extra minutes as well, and then kind of fell apart towards the end. That was kind of really an exciting match to see. England beating Germany, that one could have gone either way. We were talking about that at practice the night before that game, and I said that's a game that either England's going to win by 1. England's either going to win a close game or Germany's going to blow them out.
Sure.
That's just one of those games. I didn't see a couple of others on the bottom bracket there, but the game that I think everybody's talking about was I mean, Switzerland upsetting France was just, we have practice from 6 to 8. So that game went into that match between Switzerland and France. It's a tie match. I think Switzerland actually had an early lead, and they were trying to hold on for a very long time. France scored twice very quickly. Switzerland actually had a PK to go up 2-0.
Oh wow!
And it was blocked.
Okay.
And so then immediately France comes down and scores, and then scores again. So you in a matter of like 2 minutes, Switzerland went from a chance to be up 2-0 on the world champions to now we're down 2-1.
Interesting.
But they scored in extra minutes, I think. They scored in the added time.
Okay.
Just to send it into the extra session. And then nobody could score. It went to penalty shootouts. And I sent a text out to the team. I said there was about 5 minutes left, and it was still tied. I sent a message out. I said if this game goes to PKs, practice is delayed till 6:30. And they were all like, "Thank you." Nobody wanted to leave their television to go to practice and miss a PK shootout with Switzerland of all teams. I mean, you just don't think of Switzerland all that often as one of the. Switzerland beating France is huge. I mean, that's just a huge upset there.
Okay. All right.
So it was exciting. Everybody was talking about that one. That was a lot of fun talking.
One of the big stories in soccer, this was going back maybe about 2 months now, was that I don't know what they called it, the Superior League or whatever it was.
Right.
And I think that's sort of gone away. Is that true? You know about that?
It might have. Like I said, I don't watch the professional games very often.
Okay.
I just like it when they're playing for their country. I know that they've, and that's the thing, that they're constantly making changes.
Right.
I don't keep up with it. I mean, when I know when they had the big trade a couple years ago, and Ronaldo went to I never heard of that team.
Sure,
I was like,
sure.
I don't know where he's going or
Yeah.
what he's doing. I don't follow that part of it. It's funny because I think back to my uncle when I was a kid. My uncle was a basketball coach. He was a high school basketball coach for like 40-ish years,
Mhm.
and he couldn't stand the NBA, wouldn't watch it. And I kind of know why now. Like,
Right.
I don't, that's it, there's just not a passion there
Sure.
for that level of play. It's just,
Makes
I
sense.
don't
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I get it. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about some of your favorite teams.
Sure.
We will talk NBA real quick
Okay.
because I know you're a big Boston Celtics fan.
Yes.
So where did that love for Boston come from?
You know what? It's ironic that we would talk about that now because you've got the Phoenix Suns, who are the first team to cash into the finals this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think in some way my dad would. I mean, I guess if you go back to the '60s, you were either a Celtics or a Lakers fan.
Sure.
None of the other teams mattered. And so my dad was kind of a Celtics fan, and one of the earliest memories I have in life was staying up for what seemed like all night watching that triple overtime game in 1976.
Okay.
Between the Celtics and the Suns, and we used. You know how the kids today, before they throw something in the trash, they'll shout Kobe or whatever.
Mm-hmm, right.
We started that. I'm telling you, 40 years ago, my dad and I, if we were playing on the little basketball hoop, you would yell JoJo White before you took your shot.
Okay.
And so that was it. Yeah, I remember watching White and Cowens and those guys, Havlicek and that was just it.
That's awesome.
And then when I got to be a little bit older, in comes Larry Bird,
Right.
and that was just a whole different level. I mean, how can you not be a Celtics fan
Right.
in the '80s?
One of the most unappreciated superstars of all time.
I mean, it was just so. And then of course we went through the dry spell for many years after that. But
I don't feel bad for Boston.
No, I know
being
you
a
don't.
Cleveland.
I know you don't. I know you don't.
But yeah, we had a nice little back and forth there
Sure.
for what
some good games,
6, 7, 8 years there.
Yeah.
How about some of your? I know we're going to talk Buckeyes here in a minute.
Sure.
But any other favorite teams or athletes or coaches? Or
well, I mean, with football, it's always been Green Bay, and I don't really know why or how. I mean, it's one of those weird things. Like we all, as kids, we all grew up watching the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly when Bernie was there.
Sure.
I mean, if you lived in Boardman and you didn't cheer for Bernie,
Mm-hmm.
what's wrong with you? But we all had our own team as well. And for some reason, when I was a little kid, I was born right after the first couple of Super Bowls. So there was I had a Green Bay bib and,
Sure.
And so it just kind of stuck, but boy, you want to talk about going through a long dry spell, try being a Packers fan in the '80s. It was kind of miserable.
How cool was it to see someone that you had in class,
Corey?
Corey, and then then play for your favorite team?
Corey was just a great kid to have in class to begin with, and then I remember I stayed in touch with him when he went to Ohio State, and it was kind of great watching his career there. He had a great career with the Buckeyes, but watching him, I remember he came back to Boardman for some event that we had. And he said, Sam, he kind of pulls me aside. He's like, you can't tell anybody this, but I think Green Bay's going to take me. He's like, we've been talking with the Packers. So I kept it quiet for I wanted to tell everybody, but when I saw that come across the screen that, Green Bay takes Corey Linsley in the 5th round, I was like, this is amazing. And then, just talking to him as he went through that whole career, I mean, being just on the verge of a Super Bowl 3, maybe 4 times. I forget what it was now. But it was kind of funny because, sometimes your phone will ding and you look and it's like, part of you is like, oh, I got a text from Corey, and it's just this kid I had in class. And then there's still like the 10-year-old kid inside of you that says, I just got a text from a Green Bay Packer.
Yeah.
It's like pretty cool. I'm real happy for, he's got a great situation with San Diego now. That's a great team for him to go
LA
to.
now.
Oh, is it LA? I'm sorry.
But yeah, there's still the Chargers.
It's still San Diego in my mind.
And now I believe the number 1 paid center in all of football too. So.
I mean, it's great to see him having that kind of success. Well deserved, great guy. He deserves it. I
That's
guess I'm gonna have to be a Chargers fan for a couple years.
yeah, nothing wrong with. You could still root for the Packers unless they cross paths.
They're not going to cross paths very often, I don't think.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So, maybe you just like teams in green too.
It's
the
possible.
Celtics
It's possible. That comment has been made. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the Buckeyes.
Okay.
So,
Buckeyes.
Lucas, can you put up the Ohio State schedule? So, we have the Ohio State schedule, and the reason, obviously, I know you're a Buckeye fan. I'm a Buckeye graduate and fan.
Sure.
The line just came out for the first opening game at Minnesota. Ohio State opened as a 14-point favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess just like your overall thoughts on Ohio State heading into 2021. Obviously, we lose Justin Fields.
Yeah, they're losing some people, but I mean, I've heard good things about what they have coming up.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like, and I heard a story that one of the reasons they're expanding this whole thing to 12 teams is because when it's only 4, I guess all the really good recruits are only going to like 4 or 5 schools.
Sure.
So I mean, Ohio State is a benefit of that. They've got the personnel.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of avoiding that one disastrous game that we all know any team is capable of, and certainly we've all seen the Buckeyes do it.
Right.
I mean, you can go down the list. I mean, there's some challenging games on that schedule, but I mean, I don't think the second half of September is very challenging. I don't think Tulsa and Akron are okay, but opening at Minnesota's been good. They had a good team last year. You never know what can happen in the first game of a season. That's always and being at Minnesota.
And it's a Thursday night.
When's the last time Ohio State opened on the road? I can't remember.
That's a good question.
It feels like they always start off with a home game. So that's kind of unique being on the road. I don't know how they'll respond to that, but I mean, I think, if they can get through Minnesota and then of course, Oregon, the next few, Indiana, it depends on how much they lost or still have back from last year.
Right.
They were good.
Right.
And at Indiana, we have had trouble at Indiana.
Right.
The Buckeyes have had trouble.
That was my initial thought as the schedule was released.
Mm-hmm.
That could be the toughest game on the schedule.
It could be. That at Indiana is one that could give them some trouble. I mean, Purdue is decent, interesting. It looks like Boardman's going to have a kid going to Purdue.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not this year, but the following year.
Mm-hmm.
But Purdue and Michigan State at home, I'll take those. And then that last game, I always wanted. We've seen Michigan in Columbus. I really wanted to go to one time, if I knew that this wouldn't cause trouble in some way. Just wanted to go to a game in Michigan and just be a completely obnoxious, just annoy everybody.
I went to the 2005 game, and it was the game where Ohio State was down late. They ended up winning 25-20. They had Anthony Gonzalez, Troy Smith, Antonio Pittman ended up scoring the touchdown. And it was the best feeling, just being on campus. And I try not to be, even alcohol added into my system. I try to be a respectful fan.
Sure.
I don't want to fall into that 10% category.
Right.
That that 10% category.
Sure.
But the coolest thing though, driving back across, and Ann Arbor's not too far into Michigan,
no, it's not
30 minutes or so, but crossing over the border, facing the Michigan side, it just said 25-20, and that's all it said on this huge sheet hanging over the freeway. And that was just so cool.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I highly recommend it, especially in the next couple years when Ohio State has the advantage.
I think I'd be really shocked to see Michigan win anytime in the next 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm. And then this kid they got coming in, not this year, but next year, Quinn Ewers is supposedly the highest rated prospect of all time.
Right.
So like higher than Trevor Lawrence, higher than, so, and they're loaded at wide receiver. They're starting to, bring in all these defensive recruits too. So I think it's just going to be year after year. So
and that's fine with me.
Yeah, and let's just keep it rolling.
I love it.
Keep it rolling.
Absolutely.
All right, just a few more things on the list.
Sure.
But yesterday, and I got to give a shout out to Homage in Columbus. They were the ones that posted this. And then I posted some stuff on social media, and it really got the ball rolling. So yesterday was the 50th anniversary of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I get confused, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, whatever. So, but everyone knows the movie we're talking about.
Sure.
So I threw it out there that Grandpa Joe is the worst movie character of all time, And I'm talking like murderer, serial killer, whatever. Like Grandpa Joe is the most god awful movie character of all time. And Lucas, I'm going to throw up a couple reasons why. So here comes the first one, if we can play this.
Thing that I've never noticed before. I'm watching one of my favorite movies, Willy Wonka. You might have heard of it. And something about this Grandpa Joe guy that's just like, doesn't seem right. And I took a closer look, and you guys got to see this. It's not right. If you pause the movie right here, you can notice something. You have to look really close, so let's zoom in. Look at that. He only has 2 fingernails that are really long. The rest of them are nicely trimmed. Why? So I went to the internet to find out. I need answers on why Grandpa Joe has these long nails. Organic Coke spoon, just what I thought.
Look at me. I never thought my life would be anything but catastrophe.
All right, so there's one.
I just noticed something.
Here's another one.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows? Only
Shake that white side of the get drunk with it, get loose with it. I shall say let Bruce get it, get drunk with it, get loose with it. I shall say let.
Thing that I've never noticed.
All right, so had to share those two.
Right.
But Grandpa Joe, the movie in general is just weird. I like the movie, but it's a weird movie. And we talked about that with the music industry too.
Right.
A lot of drugs going on during that time.
There were.
So let me just ask you a couple movie questions. We did a movie bracket way back in March. Do you have a favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie? To me,
or movies.
It's always going to come down to either Rocky or Hoosiers. Those were the two.
Okay.
I think those are just everything. They're just perfect movies. Everything about them.
Both made the Final Four in our bracket too, so that's good. How about favorite movie franchise?
Favorite movie franchise? Wow. I mean, does James Bond count?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
that absolutely counts.
Yeah,
absolutely counts. All right. Do you have a most hated movie character?
Most hated movie character. Wow, I never really thought about who I hate. I mean, I think there's always like characters that you're supposed to hate. But yeah, I mean, you know, probably Sollozzo in The Godfather.
Okay.
You know, and you know, always hated Johnny Friendly in On the Waterfront.
Okay,
that was the mob boss.
I have not seen that movie.
It's a great movie. Great movie. So there's a few here and there.
Okay, all right. All right. Let me get to random stuff now. And by the way, I asked the movie questions because we are. This is a little teaser for next Tuesday's show. We're going to do a most hated movie character draft. That's why I wanted to do that. So, all right, summertime things we talked about on Tuesday. As a teacher, as a coach, now I know you're very busy still in the summer, but what are some of your like favorite summertime things?
Summertime things, just concerts if they're available. It's still not quite there yet, but yeah, I mean concerts or just being able to sit back with some friends. You know, nothing better than just like, you know, kind of sitting back on the deck or the porch with you know, maybe you know, a glass of wine or something to drink and just kind of listening to music and laughing.
Very good.
You know,
yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with that.
Can't beat that.
All right, Lucas, can you throw up this next graphic for me? This is the most random one.
All right.
And so I did this poll on Twitter, but I just wanted to know your answer because I saw people posing this question before. Is a hot dog a sandwich? And the overwhelming people said no.
No,
Lisa?
I would go no? I would go no.
Okay.
It's not a sandwich. It's its own thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. All right. And summer also brings another sporting event, the Tour de France. So I'm going to play this video for you and
Okay.
tell me if you think this is fair or foul, if this guy should be arrested.
Out a sign, and down goes Tony Martin.
Oh, Tony Martin, you hate to see this, you know, and I don't know what I think of this yet. I'm going to have to take a day to process what I think of the spectators on the side of the road. But yeah, unfortunately, Tony Martin, and it was just a domino effect. When the riders are that nervous, you're smacked in there like sardines, and there's nowhere to go. So if you're sitting anywhere behind Tony Martin and to his left, most likely you're going to go down. You really don't have a chance.
Road is super narrow. You see his crash there, and the domino effect just spreads it all the way across and closes this road down. So the guys from the back, along with the ditch on the right and left side of the road, there's no place to go. You just have to go right into the pile. You're either going to be held up, or worse, you're going to crash, and the bikes are parked.
That's bad. Yeah, absolutely. He's he's got to spend a night somewhere.
Well, and the to me the funny part was he's holding a sign facing complete. I mean, I know he's trying to get on camera and TV and all that, but he is literally facing the opposite way.
No, that's not good. You can't do that.
All right, we're gonna get you. You've given up enough of your day, but I have a few more questions I want to ask you to get you out of here. All right, ticket and a time machine. You can go to any game you would like, any sporting event you like. What would you pick? It could be current, future, or past.
Oh, any sporting event. Wow. World Cup final. Was it 06 when Italy won?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. If you could be a recurring character on any TV show, drama, comedy, whatever, what would you pick?
That's an interesting one. A recurring character.
So
on any TV
so you're
show.
like you make spotty appearances here and there.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go old school and say I'd like to just be some random extra sitting at the end of the bar and on Cheers.
Okay, I like that. That's a good answer.
Yeah,
that's a good answer. Okay, so we've talked a lot about music. We've talked a little bit about TV and movies. Would you rather be the top of your field, like a movie star? Or would you rather be a great musician?
Oh, I can't be either. But I think I'd rather be the movie star.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now the Olympics we had talked about is coming up in a few weeks here in Tokyo. Now excluding soccer, what sport most interests you?
I like watching the swimming.
Okay.
The swimming in the Summer Olympics is a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Swimming, and another one I watch just randomly that I'd never watch ordinarily is gymnastics. Is pretty cool too.
Some of the gymnastics is some of it. I like the stuff where they're either on the bars or something. The floor routines I don't enjoy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 2 more questions.
Sure.
So would you rather have, and you have 4 options here, you can pick one. So in your life, day-to-day life, you can choose one of these people that work for you 24 hours a day for free. A butler, a personal chef, a chauffeur, however you want to pronounce it, or a masseuse. You get one of those 4 for the rest of your life. This is a tough answer, I think.
It is. I'm gonna go with the chef.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the chef.
All right. I think that's probably the safe answer because you're eating all the time.
Right.
So yeah, give me that breakfast, lunch.
I love eating. I don't like spending the time doing it, preparing it. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Very good. All right. And this last question. Okay. So the government has put out stuff on like UFOs and aliens and all that crap lately. So I just thought this would be a good question to ask because it's in the news. If you had to, let's just say it was verified and validated or whatever. If you had to pick anyone, I know who you're not picking, but if you had to pick anyone as an ambassador for the entire human race, the entire human race to communicate with them, who are
aliens.
you? and that is not saying I think it's real, but a fun hypothetical question.
Somebody to communicate with the aliens for us. Brad Pitt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's just laid back and he's not going to cause us trouble.
Okay.
There you go.
You're not going with Trump?
No, no, no.
We'll end it on that. We'll end it on that.
Right.
All right. Well, I want to thank our guest, Eric Simione, for joining us. He does a great job at Boardman and, on entertaining on social media, I will say, to say the least, but does a great job with Boardman Boys Soccer, does a great job as a teacher. I've had his nephew in class and, just a great family in general. So Eric, thanks for coming on and
thanks for having me.
We appreciate you. Maybe we'll have you back in during soccer season.
Sure.
All right. Everybody have a great day. We will see you next.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. If you like our programming, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, or subscribe to your favorite podcast platform like iTunes or Spotify. This is original Youngstown content, and we would appreciate you sharing the video.